My name is William Sykes Yoh. I was born in Eureka, Pennsylvania, December the 19th, 1917. My father went to get the doctor and couldn't get back because of the blizzard. I was born at 8:30 in the morning, and my twin brother Bob was born 5 minutes later. My mother had us alone. I lived in Eureka till I was about 3 years old. Then we moved to Philadelphia, 1729 Oxford Street. My mother and father always said, always remember where your home is in case you get lost, so you can tell people. And I was told if I ever got lost downtown in Philadelphia, I should go to the Wanamaker Eagle in the store. They would know then to come there and meet me. I distinctly remember the day that we moved from Eureka to Philadelphia when I was 3. I watched them load the van with everything, and I kept asking them if they had my teddy bear. I wasn't going to go to any Philadelphia without my teddy bear, I can tell you that. My father's name was Paul Wiki Yoh. My mother's maiden name was Helen C. Sykes. They met in 1911 or 1912 at the latest. I went into the service in 1942, but I was more or less exempt from the draft because of my eyesight. I went to the draft board in Massachusetts, and I had memorized the eye charts, but I got drafted in Pennsylvania on June the 22nd, 1942. And I went to Fort Meade, Maryland. And that's why I got in. And they said, you can't see, so they listed me as a non-combatant. I twisted my knee and tore the cartilage in my knee, and they sent me to the Army hospital. They couldn't do anything for me there, so they sent me to Swannanoa, North Carolina, to the Army hospital in Asheville, North Carolina. And that's where they operated on my knee, and that's more or less how I got to meet my wife, because I was in the hospital there. There were 6 girls in the confirmation class to join church, and there were 6 men from the congregation that were in the service. So he put the 6 names in a hat and had the girls take out the name and said, write to this soldier, his name you have drawn, and send them cookies. Becky drew my name. We got to know each other by letter. And I proposed by letter, and she accepted me by telegram. My father married us. St. John's Reformed Church in Milton, Pennsylvania. 10 o'clock Monday morning. I got in touch with my brother at Yale Divinity School, and Becky got hold of the girl who was her roommate in college. So there was the best man and the maid of honor. And then when the war was over, I went back to Pennsylvania, went to Ursinus College, where I went to college. I had a daughter, Christine Rebecca Yoh, who was born April the 21st, 1948, and died September the 14th, 1948. We only actually had her home with us for a couple of weeks of her life. And Dr. Edwin Coop, who became the chief surgeon in the United States of America, he was her doctor. Couldn't save her. The hospital bill was tremendous. I got a job in the nights driving a taxi cab, and that was to pay the hospital off. And Dr. Edwin Coop heard about it. From Philadelphia, he came to Norristown, knocked on the door, and said, your bill's paid. And then Paul was born, 1950, I think. Becky, she was raised as a single child. And she said, I grew up as a single child. I don't want Paul to grow up a single child. Let's adopt. So that's how we got Rachel. He went to Philadelphia to look at the baby. Paul picked her up and held her. She said, I'm going home. I'm taking her with me. One of my favorite things, that's one thing about my son Paul. He makes good oyster stew. Scrapple and eggs. And there's only one kind of ice cream that's worth eating. That's vanilla. You know what knickers are? I wore knickers till I graduated from high school, and I refused to go on the stage and get my diploma unless I had trousers. That's the first I stopped wearing knickers. When we lived in Philadelphia, let's say 1923 to 1929, my dad would take me to Shibe Park, Conemack Stadium, to see baseball. We would go to Franklin Field to see the University of Pennsylvania play football. Conemack Stadium was a great place. It doesn't exist. It's torn down now. It doesn't exist. I actually saw people like Babe Ruth. And at that age, my favorite was Lefty Grove, the pitcher. And Rabbit Marinville, who was a second baseman, he belonged to our church. That's how we got into to see the baseball game. It didn't cost us anything. I knew the boxer, Tommy Laughlin. He used to come to the house. My dad and Tommy would get down in the cellar and put on boxing gloves and spar. Yeah, I liked Elvis. I saw all the Mickey Rooney films. I went more for actresses, Katharine Hepburn and things like that. There was an actress who sang beautifully. Her name was Katherine Grayson. She wasn't in too many films, but boy, could she sing. And one of my favorite actors was Myrna Loy, and she was one of my favorites. Judy Garland, I think, was my age. I remember seeing her as a girl in the movies. So, The Wizard of Oz, she wasn't very old. Yeah, we'll have to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Yeah, I remember Amelia Earhart. She was really the first woman to fly a solo or something, I think. I knew of her long before she got lost. I guess they never have found her. Countless songs. I can remember my mother playing a Spanish town on the piano, and Bob and I would sing it along with her. That had to be in the 20s. It had to be. Then a little Spanish town was on a night like this. Stars were peekabooing down. We made a promise and sealed it with a kiss. In a little Spanish town was on a night like this. Let me see. What maresy dotes and dozy dotes, little lambsy divey, shilly divey do, wouldn't you? Ramona, I hear the mission bells above. Ramona, they're ringing out a song above. I bless you, caress you. Ramona was one that I knew. The first pet that I remember was a German Schnauzer. The little dog. His name was Frowsy. She was a great dog. At one time we had 23 cats. One of my favorite pets was our groundhog. You know its name? Hey You. And that's an unusual name. That, of course, was an unusual pet. First car I drove, Model T Ford. That had to be when we still lived in Philadelphia. The gas tank was up front. It wasn't in the rear, it was under the hood. We would go to see Grandma, who lived in Lancaster, and you had to go up to the hill in reverse. You had to back up the hill a gap, and then you could turn around and go to Lancaster. Yeah, between hunting fossils and going out and hunting arrowheads and stuff. I didn't have time to get in trouble, except on Halloween. The first stamp that started me came from a missionary in our church, and she was in China, and she would mail letters to my father with Chinese stamps. And my first collection of stamps were different stamps from China because of this missionary belonged to the church. That's where I started. And then in 1930, my grandmother gave my brother and myself a stamp album. And that started it. On the United States stamp of the 4 chaplains that were sunk in this ship, this Reverend Poling, one of the 4 chaplains, was a close personal friend of my father's. Paul moved to Colorado. Mark was born in Colorado, and that's when we came out to visit our only grandson. I guess it was Mark, and then Jesse. And then I guess it was Jamie, Rachel's, and then Michael, and then Hannah.
In a little Spanish town, 'twas on a night like this. Don't, stars are peek-a-booing down on a night like this. They peek, they peek, they peek. I whispered, be true to me. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
And he sighed.
Why don't you tell us what he sighed?
See, see.
That means yes, yes, in Spanish. Many moons have passed away since we've been apart. Don't.
Many skies have turned to gray, still is in my heart.
We made a promise and sealed it with a kiss. Smack! That town 'twas on a night like this.
That's my wife. That's Becky. Rebecca Jane Yord.